Well, we're rolling, so
All right.
Oh, nice.
now that we moved on, there's no one in the room or anything like that. But let's see. So we're just going to kind of wing this thing and see if I can pull something out. But hey, everybody, this is Little Spider. This is our second installment on our YouTube channel. If you'll notice, this is not about escape rooms. Do apologize to anybody that watched the first video, waiting for the second video. Never failed. We got busy after we posted that video. We are working on more escape room videos. We're going to try to get 3 or 4 together so we can get ahead of the game. So we're going to push pause on that one and thought we'd just try to get some content in here from time to time. We're going to double this as a podcast while we're working on getting some other things set up. Let me introduce everybody. This is Zach. This is Tony Bronner. I'm Jim. And we're going to bring in, there's 3 of these guys. They're all very similar, but very much not similar.
Yeah, it's it.
Hey, this is the smart, intelligent, and good-looking one. And Zach here works at the shop. I work here at the shop. This is more or less our boss, one of them. So we're going to kiss his ass quite a bit through this thing. So if you bear with
Whatever he
us,
says is right.
so this is
The sky is now red.
That's it. Red it is. Red it shall be. But we're going to kind of turn this into our first podcast. We're going to work on getting a more studio podcast together. Throw this up on YouTube. Pick the topic right out of the hat. If you hear the background noise, that's the busy that's kept us from following up with the initial video that Zach and I shot. So, but this guy is a gamer.
Oh yeah.
How many games have you played?
Oh boy, too many. I wouldn't say as many as some of my friends, but yeah, too many.
I've heard when you play games, your goal, like if it says, and full disclosure, I'm not a gamer. I'm not a gamer. I'm a pinball guy. If
Hey, there you go.
I like the simplicity. I like the old school
I
stuff.
like Frogger. Frogger's like my favorite.
They remade it a couple of times. So
Well, so when I asked this question, apparently on the games it tells you how many hours it should take to finish the game. Is that right?
nowadays, I don't necessarily think it's like on the boxes itself, but you can easily just go to any Twitch account and see how many people are putting in the hours, endless hours on some of these games. It's kind of the trend that's going on in the gaming industry is infinite gaming. It just doesn't end. You know, there's guys that have put in 2,000 hours into one single game, and they're still going strong.
When you play the games, though, do you try to like run through it as quick as you can, or do you like take your time and just kind of like explore the scenery? And
that's my biggest thing because of the industry that we are all in. And especially with just everything that's happened in the creative universe, I'm the one that actually will run into a video game, and I'll just stop and I'll just pan the camera all the way around and just look at everything. But nowadays, some of the graphics that there is too, you can't help but just stop and go, dang, this is beautiful. And that's the one thing I really love about game developers today is that's the kind of attention to detail that a good majority of them are doing. A lot of them are out for the cash grab, of course. You got to make money.
Have you ever been in a game where you jump in and you were here at the shop and you're thinking, we could probably incorporate something like that?
Absolutely. One of the biggest games that I've actually, that's inspired the direction that we are moving in is a game called Uncharted. It's a game created by... Drake's Uncharted, yep. So there was 4 of them that spawned out of that, and Naughty Dog is the developer behind that, and they created one of the most beautiful forests I have ever seen. Even within a movie, to be honest. I actually ended up, on my PS4, you're able to see how many screen captures you take. I took 456 pictures of that game.
To draw like reference from
draw reference, inspiration, Really quick to backtrack on rushing through a game, I can't do it now. It's like before I would want to
Well, I heard
get
it was
through
like a
it.
personal challenge of yours to try and defeat it in less time.
Of course, that is a big thing nowadays. But even
Like,
your
what do they call it, like speedrunners?
yeah, speedrunners, exactly. Like we had an employee that used to be here, and that's even he has told me, I'll play the game at my own level, at my own pace, and then I'll go back and just try and go as fast as I
He
can.
was
through it.
like number 3 in the world for like Crash Bandicoot.
Yep. When Crash Bandicoot actually came out, he was the 3rd fastest Crash Bandicoot player.
That's awesome.
Yeah, speedrunner.
We gave you a little bit of pre-roll. Zach, obviously you're a gamer.
A little bit. I'm more of like a classic, like retro gamer. I like to play like Nintendo, Sega Genesis, stuff like that.
So, but you definitely are up to speed apparently on.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I have a Switch. And I play that.
Speedrunner to me was Carl Lewis, or someone on Cops that just.
I know a little bit of the jargon. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, what's your genre? Like, what is your? Tony's the gaming guy in the building. I know every time I walk into your office, I just about pull out a 9mm and blast a hole in the Jason or the Michael Myers thing you got standing behind the door. I've always assumed you as the horror movie nut in the building.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big horror fan. A lot of times people ask me like where it kind of came from, because I'm one of 5 kids and none of my siblings are really like crazy into films like that. But if I had to pinpoint it, I've thought about this a lot actually. When I was a kid, the first movie my parents took me to see was Gremlins 2, The New Batch, in like 1990 or whatever. And I think honestly, like seeing that on the big screen when I was like 3 or 4 years old, it just stuck me in, and ever since then,
Imprinted you for life.
anything horror, sci-fi, like B-movie, cheesy movie monsters.
In this industry, we like to say that the Halloween industry is it infects you with the disease that you want no cure for.
Yeah, exactly.
I grew up in the 80s. I was born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s. It was. I feel like the 80s was the B horror.
That's like the
pinnacle. I
pinnacle.
mean, that's
an Alien and
those were A-level movies.
yeah.
There was
Okay,
there
you're
was
talking.
It's kind of crazy because me growing up, it was you had like Creep Show that really kind of set the bar, and you had like the original Friday the 13th, and the Halloween.
So many.
movies.
Once you get into like the seedy underbelly of it all, if you will, it's never ending. Like the 80s was just a magical time for slasher film.
And they're remaking all of those in the past 10 years, or the prequels, or the things that are just elaborating on that
Hollywood
brand.
is clearly completely devoid of ideas at this point. It's
Yeah,
either a
that's
comic book movie or a remake.
Yeah.
And that's all you're getting.
Yeah.
Comic books or remakes.
Speaking of, we got Pet Cemetery coming up.
That's it. It too. It's coming out.
Yep, it too. Yeah.
It's definitely. Go back to it for a second. I
Okay.
remember.
All right.
So we were looking at a project here at Little Spire that was tied into it this year, and I went back and I was like, let me watch the first movie. And I actually hadn't seen the second one yet, so I was like, let me watch the first one again.
Like the original.
The original.
It wasn't even
It was
a
like a
movie.
mini.
Yeah, it was a
like
mini
TV
series. Yeah, exactly.
And then they
did
later
it.
released it on like VHS.
And then exactly.
Well, no,
But
no.
yeah, it's a movie.
Yeah. So
It's a movie.
I watched the trailer for it first. I couldn't bring myself to actually watch the rest of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
The trailer was so bad, so bad.
Just doesn't do it justice.
Yeah, but then I did watch it too. And while it was really good, I really liked that it was modern. I liked the storytelling. Stephen King makes you feel like an 80s kid every time he does anything.
I'm opposed to these remakes, but I'm all for giving Stephen King more money, so I guess keep him coming.
Okay. I dove in it, and
Give
I
me another
felt like it was like 1984 again, and yeah, it was that was done well, but the movie did fall flat on me. But and I totally forgot where the hell I was going with that whole thing. But
Something about it, obviously.
We just brought up the horror movies. He said, "Jump on."
The remakes, I guess, is kind of what I was going. But It 2 coming out, I don't know what they're gonna.
Well, it's supposed to be like the kids as they're older, as they're like adults.
And they go back because the movie. Well, spoiler alert: the movie ended with them all.
Yeah.
Going.
Well, it is. It's a really large book. I don't know if it's.
I read.
It's like bigger than the Bible. Yeah. It's freaking huge.
I actually took it from my library. I'm sorry, somewhere in Denver. Your book, It, is nice and safe.
That's going to go down on your permanent record.
That I think It is probably the longest book I've ever read.
You're right.
And I have the old like hardback edition. I feel like a family member gave to me. It's super cool. It's super awesome. And I remember sitting down to read it, and it took me like probably months. I was much younger, so.
Well, especially the thing. I mean,
but it was like 2,000 pages.
Exactly. Yeah. The detail. Crazy. You're just sitting there reading.
I felt so accomplished afterwards.
Wait a minute. What part of the movie am I at?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
So much more.
Even though the original movie, the like miniseries or whatever, it was like 3 hours long or something. It was pretty long, especially in the 90s. I feel like people weren't making really long movies. You know, it kind of. I guess there's always been like your Schindler's List and stuff like that. Right. The movies were more like 90 minutes long. Mm-hmm. And so they made this, it was like 3.5 hours long.
Yep.
And it still didn't even like, there's so much to that book that doesn't get overturned.
No. And so I always like the book. Very few movies have been better than the book in my mind. You read the book, you paint your own picture, you pull your own. You know, whatever the story is, whatever the vision is, you interpret that into how you would put yourself into that time or that situation or that character. The movies are always...
It kind of like projects it onto you. Like, this isn't what I had in my mind.
Exactly. Wait a minute.
There's few movies that come out that you just like, you fall in love with because it's just... It almost is something you can't put yourself into by reading the book, I think. You have to experience it in a... that dimension, that on the screen with the surround sound, the things that you can't paint that you might overlook, just completely like a tidal wave almost. Like, not horror, John Wick. That movie took the Matrix kind of theme and I think put it into a whole different character successfully, and then just came at you the whole time. Absolutely. Dawn of the Dead, the remake, I did like that one.
That was actually
fun.
Pretty good remake.
That opening scene where she wakes up, and I like the way they did that. I like the way
there was a lot of remakes. They're kind of almost like carbon copies. They just remake it and add like more violence.
Make sure you get your slug line in.
There was a lot of kind of like new direction, or not new direction,
new spin on it.
Yeah,
more
like
modern,
shining a new light on it.
Yeah. Speaking of Halloween, with your soon-to-be 2 rounds in the chest, full light Michael Myers in your office, I think the remake of that was probably one of the best remakes ever made.
Like the
Rob Zombie
came out, or the Rob Zombie?
The Rob Zombie version, the first remake. I guess to me that really made it his own. It told the story familiar. You kind of knew the background. You knew what was going on, but you felt like you were watching a whole new movie.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I really enjoyed. Is they kind of showed a lot of him being a little kid and of him being in Smith's Grove, like the sanitarium. Where in the first movie, excuse me, I've been sick, so I can't talk.
Get out of here! You're like, go be with your family. Like subject 0, patient 0.
Yeah, I know. I need to be Bubble Boy. Anyway, what was I talking about?
Michael Myers being
the first movie. They kind of show you the whole him being a kid and escaping from the mental institution in like 5 or 10 minutes.
Right.
I feel like I should know the exact amount of time. It's 8 minutes and 39 seconds. But then with the Rob Zombie, it's
8:32.
With the Rob Zombie, it's like I feel like it was a good chunk of the movie. Like probably over half of it was him as a little kid showing his like messed up family background.
Yeah, you kind of want to know that though to really. Yeah, he reset the character almost.
So it kind of. I don't know. It kind of makes Michael Myers a different kind of villain, I feel like. Because in the first one, he's so nameless almost. He could be like anybody.
Very
don't really know.
He's just psycho killer.
Yeah. He could be. That's why he's called the Shape in the first movie. And they didn't really go on to call him Michael Myers until like the other movies. But anyway, and the Rob Zombie kind of gives it a lot more.
You start
detail
to sympathize for the guy a little bit. You know, you see where he came from.
So classic, like Frankenstein syndrome. You're like, oh, maybe he's not that bad.
He
just had a rough go.
Just needs a hug. Around the waist, baby, but just a hug.
Why is that knife in my back now? I love you.
So, well, we kind of dove into games, dove into movies, and I think to keep this short, we'll maybe cap it here. But we're going to throw out what the intention of this was. We just wung it.
Wait, there was
a direction.
There was
opportunity, intent.
But you do this with it, and then
Ability.
you come back to me.
the old circuit.
There you go.
What we were planning on doing is talking video game movies versus the video game, who did it well. Let's just pick your favorite video game that turned into that did the movie justice.
See, that to me is the issue, is that there's
They're all
really
kinda terrible.
no one video game adaptation to movie that has really been like, that's the one you go to. I mean, honestly, the best video game movie would have to be Wreck-It Ralph. Just because it's, you got the mashup of, you got the classics, and yet you have the Disney and Pixar, which wasn't even Pixar.
That's what they need to do. Is just shorten it.
Disney.
Who wants
Exactly.
to say Disney and Pixar?
Yeah, that's the thing. It wasn't
Give me
even
my check,
Pixar. It's
Disney.
just, so I just totally butchered that. No, Disney did such a phenomenal job, but they got with. I mean, like having Sonic inside there, and having Bowser, and having Street Fighter, and the whole meeting of the villains kind of a thing.
For
It was,
me, and
it was
I'm
just
sure
great.
you as well, but being like a retro gamer and enjoying that, it was
Exactly.
really cool seeing all the kind of like Easter eggs, I guess.
Yeah, that's the reason why, and even in Wreck-It Ralph 2, that's the reason why you go. Oh, you haven't? Just as good. Just as good. I would still say the first one is better, just because when you went there as a gamer, stepping into this, you're just like, okay, there's no hope for video games and movies, but hey, why not? And then you come out of it going, dang, that was a really good movie, and that was so much, and you're pointing here, and pointing there, and pointing here. Yeah. And as a gamer myself, of course, in the theater, I'm just like,
Yeah, funny.
People around me are like, what's going on with this guy? Why does he keep saying things at the screen?
He's a grown man. Get him out of here.
My kids are like, all right, Dad, can I watch my Disney movie?
Yeah, so
no,
how I saw
love
Wreck-It Ralph, this was before I had kids. My brother, somebody gave it to my nephew for Christmas, and he was like, I already have this.
Yep.
And I was like, well, give it to me. I want to watch it.
Yeah.
And so I watched Wreck-It Ralph, like, by myself, no kids or nephews or anything. And I was like, this is great. Like, this is fantastic.
Yeah, no, I mean, really, I can't say as of right now, because even the Resident Evil movie, when it came out, we all went
cool parts to.
Yeah, I mean, so again, a lot of them are horror. So you have Silent Hill, you've got Resident Evil. Gosh, I mean, even Tomb Raider. They tried to kind of go into this mystical, fantasy type thing, and it never was able to capture. And I guess one thing it's kind of just like a book. So it's interesting that you talk about a book, because when you're playing a video game, when you're reading a book, you're kind of putting yourself inside this scenario kind of thing, because as the player, you have the choice most of the time to choose kind of the direction you want to go. So with the movie, a lot of it, and especially like with Resident Evil and Silent Hill, they were just trying to carbon copy the video games. They were trying to smash all of that gameplay,
into like an hour and a half.
Exactly, into an hour and a half. Where when you're reading a book, you could have months reading a book, and you put yourself with games. It can take up to 20 hours to beat some of these games. So you have all that time to really develop. And I mean, that to me, that's the biggest problem with the video game movies.
They're throwing you right in.
They just throw you right in. It's like, yeah, exactly. You know who Claire Redfield is, and you know who Chris Redfield is, and you know all these characters. And then that's why with the Resident Evil movie, they're like, here's Alice, and we're just going to toss in, and you know what? Screw Resident Evil 2, we're just going to go with our own genre and our own, it's just going to be an action movie now. Yeah. And so all the fans are like, we're done with this. Yeah. But then, of course, the moviegoers are like, this is a great movie.
Yes,
I love action and zombies.
What about a movie that either shouldn't have, let's reverse it. The movie came first and became a game. Which one should not have done that?
So movie came. So you're talking about video game adaptions
to a movie.
To the movies.
Yeah, like the movie
I feel
came
like
out.
those are rarely ever good. Too.
Yeah, those are rare. I mean, ones that I mean, like the Lego movies.
Yeah.
Those are actually end up being pretty fun, but they just follow exactly what the
That's
movie
an
does.
iconic brand.
Exactly. Yeah.
When
So
I
when it
was
comes to certain things,
a kid, I would get suckered into those games like all the time because they
Yep.
used to make them for like everything from like, Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis
yeah,
and stuff.
exactly.
And every time I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, it's a video game based on Hook. This must be great." And then you convince your parents to buy it for you, and you're like, "Oh, this is garbage."
And this is horrible. I think anymore the industry's figured it out. You don't make a movie and adapt it. You make a game and say, we should make this into a movie.
Yeah.
What's the last one that was done though? You think like Resident Evil, and things like that.
It's something that you can recognize.
Yeah, that seems to me like the last gamer movie that became a movie. That was game first.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything really recent though? Has that gotten away? Like not the way to go?
Wait, you're talking about
like
movies that then became a video game?
No. Going back to
the most recent video game to then be made into
become a movie. Yeah.
I think it was Tomb Raider. That's Tomb Raider. I mean, I think
right
now
that new Tomb Raider, and then
because they remade it
movie,
and they did it.
That's right.
Yeah, and then Warcraft.
and then they made like an Assassin's Creed movie too, and all of them.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed. You're right. Yeah, no,
But that's been a
right.
while.
They
Like,
did
we
that.
haven't seen a video game become a movie.
I think I don't know. Maybe they realized that it's not
Well,
working out.
Yeah, because see, I haven't seen it, but the newest Tomb Raider literally followed from the previews, at least that I saw, the latest video game adaptation of Tomb Raider, where they've made her more like Uncharted. Pretty much what it was. They followed that direction, but even still made it into her own story, her own video game, instead of just copy and paste of the Uncharted series.
Yeah.
And where she's the heroine, but she really gets beaten and battered. I mean, kind of a thing to the point where you're just like, my goodness, is she really going to make it? And that's kind of, at least from what I saw that they did with the movie, is that they really wanted to capture what the video game was trying to portray.
I think,
But it was, once again, mixed reviews. Just not a lot of people saw it.
yeah.
I know. So good.
No, I was just going to say that a lot of people forget, and I honestly forgot about it until we started talking about it, but in like the 90s, they made a good amount of video game movies that, I don't know, I thought they were cool when I was little, but, they made like the Street Fighter movie, they made Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, that's true.
There was a Double Dragon movie.
Yeah, as a
that
kid,
was,
you're like,
infinitely awesome.
Yeah,
And then there was the freaking Mario movie.
oh no! Don't even bring it up.
Where friggin' Dennis Hopper was Bowser.
It was
King. What was his name?
Shoot,
What's Bowser's other name? King Koopa.
King Koopa. Yeah, the Koopa Troop. Oh my goodness,
That made as much
bad,
sense as a
just
smart
bad.
movie.
Oh, who was it? John Leguizamo, I think he was.
Yeah, he was
Luigi.
He was Luigi.
Yeah, he was Luigi.
Josh. I can't think of his name, but the guy that played Mario was the dude from Hook.
Well, yeah, they were doing
And
this
Who
whole
Framed Roger
'90s.
Rabbit.
Yeah, they did this whole '90s dark tale to it.
Yeah.
It had nothing.
They also had to go up against this release of Space Jam at that same season. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There's been endless articles about just what that did to the gaming world, and it was almost that's actually why I think Nintendo completely pulled back. They're just like, no more. No, you can't have
That's
Zelda.
what
You can't have Kirby.
I remember seeing it when I was
You can't
little,
do
and
anything.
I thought it was terrible. And it's still pretty terrible, but it's one of those movies that it's you can kind of enjoy watching it now. It's so bad that it's good.
That's
the thing.
that's the part, the retro part of it.
When I was younger and Mortal Kombat came out, I freaking loved that movie.
Yeah, I did too.
I would rent that all the time.
Uh-huh.
Back when you would rent VHS tapes from Movie Max and
Yep.
Movie Gallery.
And then forget to rewind it and have to pay the extra $2.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Please.
Well,
But yeah,
please
if you went to a
rewind.
sleepover in the 90s and they didn't rent Mortal Kombat,
No,
Mortal
exactly,
Kombat
yep.
Annihilation, you're like, I'm out of here.
Or Street Fighter.
Don't even want to be a part of this.
Well, once again, just try and cap it off, get this out to you guys. Hope you enjoy it. If you got anything to chime in, there's a comment section in YouTube. If you're listening to this on iTunes or Stitcher, once we put it out as an podcast, enjoy it. We'll get better with the podcast. We're going to do a separate format for that, but right now we're just trying to get something out. Hey, we also got Transworld coming up in less than 11 days. We head out to it.
Oh yeah.
We've got a booth we're setting up, so if you're going to be at
So
Transworld, check us out. I don't know the booth number, but I do know we're in the food court. You won't miss us.
No.
Trust me. We're going to be doing some live podcasting each day on the stage. Oh, by the way, we're going to have a stage this year. There'll be some other shows, some things we're doing there. We'll have a little haunt you can walk through. We've got some surprises we'll save for the show. But if you're at Transworld, look us up. Tell us you saw this. Tell us what you think. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go to our Facebook or Instagram. That's going to be at Little Spider Creations on either one. So Little Spider Creations on Facebook or YouTube. If I got that wrong, I'll put a little link somewhere in this thing. But
I'm supposed to know too.
check us out. Subscribe. We're going to do this on a regular basis. This we can do because he was headed to lunch. He was headed to lunch. I'm like, shit, guys, get up here. We got to do something real quick. Let's talk movies. Let's talk video games, and we'll get something out. So we'll get better. We'll bring some of the other brawlers in. We'll bring some of the other staff we've got here in, like Jason, our special effects. Might drag Dave and your dad up here one time just to talk like.
Oh.
I'm old, but they're a little older than I am.
That'd be fun.
So,
That'd be fun.
but yeah, we're just going to keep it coming. Tell us what you want to hear about. We can talk movies, video games, special effects, horror, music,
The industry.
You said something like 10 minutes ago that really got my gears turning when you said Wreck-It Ralph 2 was almost better than Wreck-It Ralph 1. I kind of want to talk about sequels that are better than the original.
Well,
There we go.
All right.
Great topics.
Guys, Tony, Zach, Jim, Little Spider Creations, hit that subscribe button, please. Thank you, guys. See you. All right. Cool. Hopefully it's over 30.